Welcome to the Purple Jaguar. And we're not going to start off as we normally would with excitement and glee, optimism. I watched a tragic thing happen last night. Now, I am a Chiefs fan. I will stay committed and loyal to my team, but the excitement, the buzz, the love, the hope that the New York Jets had going into this season with their four-time MVP quarterback Aaron Rodgers, who it has been silently one of my favorite players to keep track of, watch, um, view interviews with. He's just been all around an interesting personality and character in the league. And 4 snaps into the game last night, he ruptured his Achilles. Now, this is breaking news as far as the ruptured Achilles part, but we knew that it was probably bad based off of the replay footage and the way he acted. Now, the Jets did still pull out a win. Their defense is still a top tier defense in the league and could be very good this season. They have two elite running backs, but they don't have that bad man. He is going to be out for the remainder of the season. And that, in a nutshell, kind of can sum up the entire weekend of football. Now, there is positives. I am not a huge college fan, but I am now a Colorado fan because of Deion Sanders and what he's doing to that school, what he's bringing as far as the interest and intrigue to that program, the players that he has, the talent. It's something to watch. I love watching that on Saturday. It's a great lead into an NFL slate on Sunday. But the season, to some regards, has already been tainted. I do not want to talk about the Cowboys. Not at all. I have to because they are looking like one of the best teams in the league, much to my dismay. I do not want to talk about how the Raiders lead the AFC West. It is the only team in the AFC West to have a W next to their name. I don't want to talk about Joe Burrow throwing for under 100 yards in 32 attempts. I don't really want to talk about how the Chargers are continually missing something. They have all the talent in the world, but their coach is stupid. He should not be an NFL coach. He should have lost his job after the playoff game last year. I don't want to talk about how the Jaguars were barely able to oust the Colts and their rookie starting quarterback, Anthony Richardson, who is a dog. Um, I don't really want to talk about the Broncos and Sean Payton and how they scored the exact same amount of points as they did last year against the Raiders team that they lost to. But we must start somewhere. And let's start with the Jaguars. That game was actually a very competitive and interesting game. I thought the Colts did a lot of good things against the Jaguars. I think the Jaguars have immense talent, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Calvin Ridley is back to full form. He does not look like he's missed a beat. He might be one of the top 5 wide receivers in the league by the end of the year. If you got Calvin Ridley on your fantasy team, kudos to you. He looked awesome. We're but there is levels to this, and we'll talk about Calvin Ridley, and that's cute compared to Tyreek Hill's 11 catch, 215 yard, 2 touchdown day for the Miami Dolphins. That boy can run. I don't even know if they have real routes. I don't know if they have, plays that scheme him open or if Mike McDaniel is like, just go do something and to throw him the ball. because his one touchdown catch, now it was a perfectly thrown ball by Tua Tagovailoa, which might I add, he's looking like the MVP frontrunner if he could stay healthy. But that pass and catch in the back of the end zone against the Chargers, that's magic. Like he didn't even have to like do anything. I think the ball hit Tyreek Hill in the chest, could have scared him. I don't even know if he was looking at the ball until it hit him in the chest. But catches the ball, touchdown. Dolphins win. Dolphins might be a top 3 or 4 team in the AFC. Dolphins look good. You know, who didn't look good? It's Kansas City Chiefs against the Lions. Now, they have signed Chris Jones to a new 1 year deal, giving him some incentives to make back some of the money that he lost holding out, which that's kind of a weird situation, anyways. But he's going to be back. It's sounding like Travis Kelce's going to get back to form and he's going to be ready to play against the Jaguars this coming Sunday. But the Chiefs lost, the Bengals lost, the Ravens looked okay against the Texans. You would have thought that would have been a game where you just whoop them all up and down the field. But the Ravens, there's going to be some easing into this. They just lost their starting running back, J.K. Dobbins, to this same injury that Aaron Rodgers just sustained, a ruptured Achilles. So there is going to be some hiccups and there's going to be some injuries and things that really make the season hard to predict. Got flies. So it's hard to go into each and every week with predictions that can be based in, you know, I think optimism is the best way to make predictions. I wouldn't say, because you can be as sophisticated and you can be as smart and you can be as, active in the statistics and everything as you want to be, but an injury like an Aaron Rodgers injury or J.K. Dobbins, that can derail a season or at least one side of the ball. So you got to be hesitant. And who would have thought the Vikings would lose to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Now, I'm not a big, huge sports gambler, and Kentucky just got the ability to gamble on sports like that. And so, what I'm doing is I'm writing down 3 to 4 games every Sunday, my pick for it, and then seeing how I do for the first few weeks before I start putting some money on the line. But I went 2-2, and the ones that I lost, the Giants and Cowboys. I thought the Giants would make that game closer. I was getting points. The Giants had been kind of hyped for their signing of Darren Waller. They got Saquon Barkley back. He's happy. I did not know that the Giants were going to look like a high school team versus the Cowboys. And so I lost that one bad. And then the Vikings. I thought the Vikings would be just the same Vikings from last year. Not elite, but capable. And I thought the Buccaneers were going to take a step back, going from the GOAT to Baker Mayfield. But they got some fighting. They got some dog in them down there in Tampa Bay. And Tampa Bay put on a good showing and a good outing against the Vikings and won that game. And I was wrong. Now, some games that I was right on, I took the Dolphins over the Chargers. I thought that the Chargers would get in their own way via their coaching. I don't believe that the Chargers have good coaching at all. And I knew that the Dolphins had a more nuanced, very good, if not great, offensive scheming coach in Mike McDaniels. Plus, they have two of the fastest wide receivers on the planet. And if Tua Tagovailoa is healthy, their offense is elite as elite can get. Top 1-2 offense in the league, easy. So that was an easy one to pick. And then the other one was the Jaguars. I thought the Jaguars were. Now, the Jaguars did win by 10. It was not a convincing 10. It was a late 10, a late come on strong kind of game. But the Colts played really well. And Anthony Richardson did not look like he was overwhelmed at all. He looked like he played within himself. Now, he is a physical specimen. He is a talent kind of quarterback. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to have some bad picks, But overall, his talent and ability are going to shine through. And I think it's a lot like Cam in his first season. Cam Newton, like he's just a big guy. It can run the ball, can make every throw. Now he's going to need to work on the touch. He's going to need to work on reading the defense. These little things that will come as your career goes forward. But as far as the best quarterback, rookie quarterback of the weekend, it goes to Anthony Richardson. He looked like he fit. He looked like he was supposed to be there. Now Shane Steichen, the coach now of the Colts, does make a huge difference because as you can see, offensive head coaches are kind of taking the league by storm. They kind of can put their quarterbacks and their players in position to win games, and you're starting to see that happen more frequently each and every week. You're seeing an offensive head coach go up against a defensive head coach and have a severe advantage, especially when it comes to coaching the quarterback position. We watched that specifically with the Chicago Bears and the Packers. Now, I don't like the Green Bay Packers now that Aaron Rodgers is not there. I don't really want Jordan Love to do well, to be quite honest with you, if I had an opinion at all. I don't want Jordan Love to do good. I want them to fall on their face because I don't think they gave Aaron Rodgers what he needed while he was there at the back, the back last few years of his career. But against the Chicago Bears, who look confused, absolutely confused, it blew my mind the amount of talent that the Chicago Bears have on their team. As far as DJ Moore, they have Claypool, they have Mooney, they have Commit, who is a pretty good tight end. They have a great running back at Herbert. I think that's how you say it. And they were unable to put together any kind of offense that made me believe that they were going to be competitive this year against the Green Bay Packers. Now, the Green Bay Packers might have a top 10 defense, but you can't surprise me with anything. It looks like Justin Fields is running for his life the entire time, and hopefully he can come up with something, like pull a rabbit out of his hat and just make something happen. It doesn't look like there's anything that's actually, schemed. There's nothing setting up any other plays later on in the game. There's nothing that I can look and say, wow, that's some nuance. That is you using the talent and the players that you have now and scheming these great talents open or in some space or getting Justin Fields, rolling him out, putting him in a position to win against a defense. It looks like they were just lost. And then here comes the Packers, which the Packers, led by Matt LaFleur, who is an offensive head coach, put Jordan Love into like the best position to win. Like he didn't have to do anything but be competent. That is the difference between an offensive head coach and a defensive head coach. Same thing with Brock Purdy. We still do not know how good Brock Purdy is. Why? Well, because Brock Purdy is in Kyle Shanahan's system with George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey. Like he is able to utilize and have the ability to just throw the ball to the guy that's open because he's schemed open because we have all these playmakers. That's coaching. That's what coaching needs to be. And I think in Kansas City, we're going to see like how much did Eric Bieniemy have to do with how good our offense went as the year goes on. Because first game, now I understand we didn't have, Hall of Fame, probably number one ranked tight end of all time, pass catching tight end of all time. But we looked stagnant, stale. Even when we did scheme something open, as far as the Chiefs are concerned, that receiver dropped the ball. Kadarius Toney dropped the ball. I don't know this guy. I don't like him. As a Chiefs fan, I do not like him. I think he gives me like the Tyreek Hill vibe without Tyreek Hill clout. Like he wants to go troll farming the Giants. Bro, let it go. That's a year old now. Like they're not worried about you. Why are you worried about them? You worry about the ball. Getting the ball and catching it in your hands and then running up the field with it without getting injured. You worry about that. But this is the kind of stuff that I feel like erodes at a team. Like Kadarius Toney needs to shut the hell up, play some football, play some winning football, and let his play talk for him. I don't hear nothing from Tyreek Hill now. And Tyreek Hill's out here catching 11 passes for 215 yards and 2 touchdowns. Man, I wish we had Tyreek Hill still. Man, I wish we paid people on the offensive side of the ball in Kansas City. Boy, it's hard to watch that. But good for him. Kudos. But first week recap, it's you see the Aaron Rodgers situation and it just makes you sick, man. Especially all the hope and the optimism that the New York Jets had going into the season. Man, that just hurts. And hopefully they can, tie a decent season together. Maybe Zach Wilson gets his head out of his butt and with, the mentorship from Aaron Rodgers is able to, be a competent quarterback because that's literally all they need is competent quarterback play that doesn't throw the ball to the other team. Josh Allen. Excuse me. But that's what they need. And it just hurts to watch a team's hopes and dreams seem to go down the toilet within 4 snaps of the season. But that's the price you pay. I mean, you go out and get an old quarterback. He's 39 years old. And, he looked like he'd been working out. And a lot of times when you've been working out, you've been, getting back into shape and stuff, you put a lot of stress on those muscles, those tendons. And then it just looked like he planted his foot and it snapped. And it's hard. I mean, it is hard. I heard, Shannon Sharp and Stephen A. Smith talk about it, and they're like, "Would you have been surprised if it was 5, 6 weeks into the season and this happens?" It's like, no, he's old. He's older for an NFL player, and that happens. Injuries do happen, and eventually that's why no one can play the game forever. Even Tom Brady, who has kept his body in the best shape, has gotten very lucky and been very fortunate with injuries and his injury history. Eventually, you got to just know when to call it. And so, man, it was hard to see because I'm getting to that age personally. I'm 30 years old now, and I'm just getting to that age where I'm watching all the people that I watched growing up, as a teenager into young adulthood. I'm watching all these people slowly start to trickle out of the sports. LeBron James. We already watched Dwayne Wade. Chris Paul's on his way out. Carmelo Anthony left as far as basketball is concerned. Then we lose Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, and now Aaron Rodgers. It's like it's just a hard time. It's a hard thing to watch your heroes, for all intents and purposes, get old. So it's just my heart goes out to Aaron, and hopefully, he makes the best decision for him. I feel bad for that Jets organization. It's the Jets have always been a team that I don't hate. I kind of pay attention to because I don't know, like I like the Jets in a way that like a lot of people that like the Jets, and so you like the Jets, and they're not um they're not like the Cowboys. The Cowboys is just like hey, I can't stand Cowboy fans, but the Jets aren't like that. But they've just been tortured with situations and circumstances that happen, just like this Aaron Rodgers one, where it's like, can they catch a break? And so that's tough to see. And God knows I do not like the Buffalo Bills. I don't mind the Miami Dolphins, but I do not like the New England Patriots. So if anybody's going to win that division, I wanted it to be the Jets or the Miami Dolphins. So we'll be pulling for the Miami Dolphins now, but it's just tough to watch. It makes man, that game went from being like I can't wait to watch this game to oh great, another, defensive battle in a mediocre quarterback running for his life, not knowing what to do. I didn't know I'd be talking about Josh Allen and Zach Wilson, but that's what it ended up being. So, as far as this week's concerned, it's wrapped up. I think we'll be on the lookout for the receivers that continue to pull themselves away from the pack and make a name for themselves this year. Brees Hall, to me, is a freaking stud running back. Christian McCaffrey's still a stud. Tony Pollard did his thing for the most part, what he needed to do. But other than that, I don't really. I think B.J. Robinson, stud. But Aguilar is going to have a lot to say about how much B.J. Robinson gets in the game because they got two really good running backs down there in Atlanta. So those are hard for fantasy. But overall, good start. Good first week. I'm looking forward to seeing the Chiefs get a W on the board because right now the Raiders are leading our division, and that is not okay. So, but other than that, tune in till next time. This is the Purple Jaguar. Thank you for listening.